Hello, welcome back. I missed you. I hope you guys had a nice, relaxing, and fun weekend. Did anybody do anything that was interesting that they care to share with the rest of the class? Oh yeah, no, go ahead. Oh, that sounds amazing. That sounds really, really nice. Hopefully you can tell us a little bit more about that afterwards. I would love to hear more about that. That actually kind of plays into sort of a little bit of what we're going to be doing. So I'm sure a lot of you don't remember, but on Friday we were talking about how there's certain emotions, certain feelings that we just have difficulty putting into words. My grandmother actually used to often say, I can't explain it in English, and she only spoke English. But what she meant by that was just that, there was these certain emotions that she was unable to articulate. And I think we all, struggle with that sometimes. Sometimes certain feelings, certain emotions are just too big for words. So for this assignment that we're going to be working on for the next week, I'm excited about it, and I think you guys are going to like it. So I've found 4 words from all over the world that feel like poetry. So I'm going to go over these 4 words with you. And then when I'm done going over the words, the assignment is going to be that you're going to choose whatever one speaks to you. And you are going to either find a song that you feel represents and captures that word, and you're going to play it for the class. You're going to take photographs that you feel, represent this word. There's really no right or wrong way to do this project. It could be a poem. It could, you could make your own little music video. I don't want to put any limitations on it in terms of your own imagination. So let me get started here. I'm going to read these 4 different words for you. So get out your notebooks. We're going to write these down, and you're going to decide which word you feel you have like a special connection with. Don't have a pencil, you can borrow one from your neighbor, or I have extra pens and pencils up here. Let's put these over here. Feel free to come grab one. Where did I write these? So I would like to apologize in advance if I mispronounce any of these words. If any of you know the correct pronunciation, feel free to raise your hand and help me out with these. I would greatly appreciate that, but I'm going to do my best. Okay, so word number 1 is a Portuguese word. I'm going to write it down. I'm going to write the pronunciation. So write all these down with me, okay? We're going to have them all in your notebooks. And you're going to pick your favorite one, or you can do all 4 if you would like to. It's completely up to you. So word number 1 is S A U D A D E. And then pronunciation key is W D. I'm going to show this to you in 1 second. D J E E. So I think this is Saudade. Saudade. So this is a Portuguese word, and I'm going to have you write down what this means. So what this means is a deep nostalgic longing. So write that down. A deep nostalgic longing. A deep nostalgic longing for someone or something that may never return. All right, one more time. A deep nostalgic longing for someone or something that may never return. And then it says, this is the explanation. You can write this down if you want. It says, it's not simply missing something. It's a sweet sadness, a longing for a time, a place, or a person that was special to us that we may never have again. I'm going to read that one more time. It's not simply missing something. It's a sweet sadness, a longing for a time, a place, or a person that was special to us and that we may never have again. So this word kind of reminds me, every year I like to go see the Nutcracker performed by Tchaikovsky. So I had read that he had a very bittersweet feeling towards Christmas because that was like the happiest time of his life, of his childhood, when he was with his sister who he loved very much. And those times were gone and they were not going to ever come back. And so the music to me, it doesn't, well, there's one song in particular. I'd like you to look up this one song. Write it down. Alright, so you can put this into YouTube and you can watch this video. I personally think this is a very good example of this word. I think it really expresses sort of like a sweet, bittersweet longing for something that has passed that you miss, but you're reflecting upon it like fondly. You know, there's some memories that we have that we look back on and we're happy that they're gone. This is something that is gone, but that you miss it and you do not think it'll ever be retrievable. So yeah, if you want a good example of that one, in my opinion, I feel like that is a good example of that. All right, so let's move on to the next word. The next word is a German word. I hope I'm not completely butchering any of these. Does anyone speak German? All right, so if you know how to pronounce this, then feel free to jump in. So I'm going to write it down. I'm going to show it to you. F E R N W E H. And then I'm going to write the little pronunciation key underneath. F E H R N dash V E Y H. So this is German. I believe that this is pronounced Fernweh. Fernweh. So this is a really interesting word. I'm going to read it to you, and I want you to write this down. So what it says is, Fernweh is a deep, aching desire to travel to faraway places. a wanderlust. All right, I'll read it again. A deep, aching desire to travel to faraway places. Wanderlust. So, and then here is the explanation. It says, if you've ever seen a movie or looked at an image in a book and you felt like you belonged somewhere you'd never been, that's Fernweh. So have you ever had that? I don't know if you've ever been, like, watching a movie that takes place in an area that you yourself have never visited, or you're scrolling through Instagram and you just so happen to see an image of a place and you feel like this deep attachment to it, even though you've never physically been there yourself. That would be Fernweh. So if you would like to choose that word, make a note of that. Oh yeah, no, I think I've experienced every single one of these. That's why I picked these particular ones. All right, so the next word, I'm gonna write this down. This is a Welsh word. I don't think we have anyone in here that's Welsh, do we? All right, well, okay, so I'm gonna write this down. This is a beautiful sounding word. So it's H I R A E T H, and then I'm going to write the little pronunciation guide underneath. H E R dash E Y E dash T H. Okay, like I said, this is Welsh. Hiraeth, Hiraeth, Hiraeth. So this is a wistful longing for a home that no longer exists or that never did. I'll read that again. A wistful longing for a home that no longer exists or that never did. Trying to think of an example. No, you're right. This one is very similar to the last one, but this one is specific to the home as opposed to like an entire town. This one is actually, you're longing for a home that either no longer exists, maybe that home, you've moved away from it, you've relocated, or you never actually lived in this specific house. You just have a longing, like a fantasy or an image in your head for a version of a home that feels like home to you, but you yourself have never lived in that house. Does that make sense? Has anyone ever experienced it? Either maybe it's like your fantasy version of what home should feel like. Not all of us obviously have a home that's our ideal living situation, whether that's because of the actual house or the people that are in it or circumstances. And so, oftentimes you can have a fantasy of a home life, and you've held on to that so long that it almost feels real to you. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so again, that's Welsh. Hiraeth. Yeah, I think that's a pretty word. I like that. All right, so this next one is from Japan. Yeah, I'm going all over the place here. Okay, so I'm going to spell this out, and I will write the pronunciation key, and then we will go over what it means. So get your pens ready. All right, so K And then the pronunciation is Ko dash Mo dash Re dash Bi. Komorebi. Komorebi. I think that's how you pronounce that. So this one's really beautiful. This is a really beautiful, really beautiful word. So this word describes sunlight filtering through the trees. All right, I'll read you the explanation. Oh yeah, sure, I can read that one more time. It means sunlight filtering through the trees. Now take your time. I'm sorry, I'm going a little too fast. Okay. You got it? All right, perfect. So this word describes that dappled golden light that dances on the ground when the sun is shining through the trees. So I'm sure you've all experienced that at some point. Those shadows. You can see it sometimes from water too, but this particular word has to do with the shadows that come through the trees and the leaves and dance on the floor. So I don't know if you've ever been walking on a hike. You're right, there is a very good example of that in the lunch area over by those over by the oak trees. I know exactly where you mean. You know what? After we finish writing this up, I think we should all just take a little trip over there. That's very, very smart. That's a perfect example of that. Yeah, over by the basketball courts. So if you stand on the basketball courts, underneath those oak trees, you can really see the sunlight comes down through the trees, and you'll see it just sort of dancing like all over the ground. Hopefully we catch it at the right time. But yeah, why don't we pack up in a minute and we'll go see if we can see it. Good thinking. So then, yeah, now you just pick one or multiple. Honestly, it's completely up to you. And you're just going to either find an example somewhere where you find one of these words that have been used in a story, and you can find that passage. You can read it to the class. You can play as a song that you feel captures the emotion of that word. You can show us an image that, like for example, that you picked the one that talks about, like the aching desire to travel to faraway places, Fernweh. So if you pick that one, you can show us a picture of a place that resonated with you personally and talk to us about like why you feel that connection to that place. I think it'll be an interesting exercise, not only for you to explore feelings that you have had, but it'll be good for all of us to sort of like get to know each other on a deeper level. So I think it'll be like a bonding exercise for us. And yeah, there's no right or wrong way to execute this. Take photographs, create your own little music video. I want you just to have fun with this, to play around with it. And we're going to do some more words next week. But I want you to stick to these four for this particular week. So I want us to all be like on the same theme. Exactly. No, it definitely does not. It doesn't have to be a classical music song. I just picked that one because that one, made me think about longing, like a bittersweet sort of longing feeling. But now you can play whatever song, brings up those feelings in you. Oh no, definitely. You know that I don't personally care about like curse words. As long as it's not, a word that is like derogatory or hurtful to any particular person. Like if the song has curse words in it, no, I don't care. We're all adults here, so it's not a big deal. It's just a word. I don't think any of us are going to be offended. There's actually been studies that show that people that cuss more often are more intelligent. I don't know, I'm just saying. Well, different teachers have different rules. You know that all I care about in this classroom is that we treat each other with respect and that, no one is disrespectful to each other. But if you feel like you can express yourself better by, peppering a certain sentence with a little bit of cussing, that does not bother me. I just want you to always be aware of knowing when to edit yourself. I think that's the most important thing is, obviously if you're in a job interview, if you're around people that, it's a professional setting, then you need to know how to be aware of editing yourself. But I like to treat this classroom as though we are friends hanging out, and I think it's fine to use that language amongst friends. So if there's a song, if you have any, questions, like you're unsure, just, email it to me. I'll let you know if it's appropriate or not. But I think that everybody in here has pretty good common sense, so I'm not really stressed out about that. I trust all of you to use your best judgment. I know you guys all have really good heads on your shoulders, so you always demonstrate. You guys are honestly like such a great class. So any of these words like jumping out at you so far? Oh, it's hard to say. For me, they all speak to me. That's why I picked these four. But for me, I think Fernweh. I'm just like not sure I'm saying that right. But yeah, the German one that talks about a deep aching desire to travel to faraway places. I get that a lot. Yeah. Like if I'm watching a movie, or it does happen on Instagram a lot for me also. I see a specific spot and it just feels like I've been there, or I'm so drawn to it even though I've never physically been there in real life. And another example is, it might even be a place that like appears to you in your dreams. Like if you ever had like a reoccurring dream about a specific place or a specific person that you've never met in real life, but you just have like this sort of homesickness for. Yeah, no, it is. It's interesting. It's cool to know that these words exist because obviously so many other people have felt this way, that there actually is a word to describe it. So, it's sort of nice knowing that you're not alone in experiencing these feelings. And I think that can be helpful, just knowing, that you're not the only person that feels that way. Yeah, no, sometimes there's just a comfort in that, in and of itself, just knowing that, you're not the only one feeling a certain feeling. Sometimes when you think that you're the only one experiencing something, it can feel a little isolating. So, yeah, that's why I like to do these exercises. I feel that it helps us realize how much we all have in common as opposed to focusing on like our differences. And I'm sure there'll be people in this class that you will have something in common with or a shared feeling with that you would not have known just by looking at them. You know, lots of times we share things in common with people that we least expect. I did this with another class, and it was interesting because there were, certain people that had the same feeling for a specific place, or, they both used the same song as their example for a specific word. And it's kind of neat when, you find someone in the class that you can share these types of feelings with, and you guys can connect on a deeper level. So I think it'll open up, really great discussions for us. And, as you all know, this is always just like a very safe space. And it's like, kind of a cheesy word, but it's a safe space for us all to discuss, whatever is on our minds. Like, I know that we all kind of laugh at the posters they put up that say like bully free zone, because no, they are stupid. But what I appreciate about you guys is this classroom really has been a bully free zone. You guys are all really, really respectful to each other, and I super appreciate that about all of you. It's been you guys are a really great group of people. It's going to be hard not having you guys next year, because I just feel that all of us have really become sort of like a family unit in here. Good, I'm glad that you feel that way also. It's the environment that, that's the environment that I really want to foster, but I would not be able to achieve that without you guys. So thank you so much for creating this, this really nice environment here where we can all open up and talk freely about all of our ideas and our feelings and not feel that we're going to be laughed at or judged in any way. Does anyone want to share what word immediately jumped out at them? Yeah, no, Jennifer, go ahead. Interesting. So what was it about that word that jumped out and spoke to you? Okay, no, that's really cool. Does anyone relate to that? Jeff, you relate to that? How do you relate to what Jennifer's saying? Look at her and tell her how exactly you feel the same way. Nice. See, isn't that cool? You guys never would have known that you both share that feeling. It's cool when you find an area of commonality with someone. It's something that you might not experience as much in high school. But when you get into the working world, something that's sort of interesting that you experience is, you're going to realize that you're going to be forced to work closely with people that are, very different ages from you, come from very different backgrounds from you. And, when you first show up, you might look at those people and you might think you have nothing in common with them. But what's really interesting and what happens over time when you work at a place for a while, the people that end up becoming your work best friends are people that you would not necessarily expect to be your best friends. When you start a new job, it's just interesting to find out the people that end up having like the same sense of humor as you and who just like get you and who you vibe with might not necessarily be the people that are the same age as you or look the same as you in any sort of way, and to just be open to that. Don't write off people anywhere in life because if how you assume they're going to be. Like, let people surprise you. It's a really exciting way of going through life, of just assuming that you have something in common with everyone. I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret that I actually do in the classroom. So at the beginning of every year, I get a new group of students that come in, and when it's a new group of people, it's not like an instantaneous connection to every single student. Some students just immediately vibe with, and some it takes a little more time to develop. But what I always do is I always assume that I'm going to eventually like each and every student in the classroom. And it really becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because I do eventually like every single student in the classroom. There always ends up being a quality in every single person that comes into this room that I end up really appreciating. And I think that when you see someone and you don't instantly like them, don't just automatically write them off. Just try to look at it as you haven't found what you like about them yet. Because, some people just take a lot longer to reveal themselves to you. What's funny is those people can end up becoming your favorite people, the ones that you didn't actually like right away. You're right, it's similar to music. Like, there's certain songs that you'll hear right away, and it's just an easy song to hear right away, and you like instantly, you kind of like take to it. But if you play that song too many times, you get sick of it. And then there's certain songs that like have a slow build, and you're like kind of on the fence with it the first time you hear it, but then the more you play it, like the more it grows on you and the more you love it, and you like keep discovering like new things about it that you didn't hear the first time you listened to it. Same is true of movies, like The Big Lebowski. I wouldn't say I disliked it the first time I saw it, but that's a movie that at this point in my life, it's probably a movie I could watch the most over and over again. And every time I watch it, there's like a new character I appreciate more. There's new lines of dialogue that I appreciate more. And I think those are the kinds of people that you end up sort of like liking the longest throughout your life, is those like slow burn kind of people. I want you guys to keep an open mind, like in so many different areas. I just think that's one of the key things in life, is just keeping your mind open, not walking around shut off from things. It's similar to yoga. If you try to be, like I go to yoga sometimes, and balancing things, there's not my strong suit. So, we were doing this thing, it's called tree pose, where you stand like on one leg, and then you put your other leg, here, let me draw like a little stick figure. So you stand, this is just a really really bad drawing, but like one leg is straight and then your other leg comes and sort of like rests up against your other leg, and you have your arms, oh god, this is horrific, above your head. This is horrible. But yeah, one leg is straight and the other leg is bent. Okay, so I would have trouble doing that pose. And what the teacher explained to me is the more rigid, like you try to hold yourself, the more just like locked in you try to be, the more you're going to fall. But the more you are just more like an actual tree, and if you look at a tree, obviously they're like moving with the wind, and they bend in certain directions. They don't break. Things break and they fall down when they're too rigid, and then like the wind comes and it can break it. But if you sway and if you bend and if you move with like what's going on, you can then gain sort of like your stability, ironically. So it's like the opposite of what you expect. And when I went with that, and when I just would sort of allow my body to slowly come into alignment instead of fighting against it and just trying to stand like as still as possible, but I just sort of like slowly allowed myself to just go with the flow. That's when I was able to actually like perfect that and stand, the most still. So sometimes things are like counterintuitive. Another just like silly example that I heard about that one time was somebody was talking about, like when we want to hold on to something that we love or that we want to protect, we have this tendency to want to like hold on to it super, super tightly. And they were like comparing it to like a wet bar of soap in the shower. And it's like the more you try to squeeze it, the more it's gonna like slip out of your hand. And you can kind of like relate that to people in relationships, or just life in general. Like when you really try to possess something and you're like frantically clutching onto it, that ends up actually making it want to get away from you. When you have like this more relaxed, calm vibe about you, people are more drawn to wanting to be with you. And it's just ironic that lots of times the harder we try to clutch onto things, the more they try to escape from us. There's a sort of desperation and chaotic, frantic energy that's associated with clutching and clinging on to something, too tightly. And lots of times you just have to ease up on the reins, relax, and truly allow things to just fall into place on their own. And when we can learn to do that and relax our grip a little bit, things usually end up much, much better than when we're trying to frantically control them. And it's just a little life lesson for today. So why don't we pack up our things? I think it'd be nice if we walked over to the basketball court and you guys could just see the example of, what was it called? Komorebi? What was that word again? The word was, Komorebi. Sunlight filtering through the trees. So just put your pencils away, because we're gonna go. You can just go straight to to nutrition after that. And pack up and just walk over there, and we can just hang out outside until the bell rings. If anyone wants to take their phones out, you can take like a video of it or some photographs, if that's gonna be the word that you end up choosing. All right, wonderful. Okay, so let's get packed up, and we will head over there.